Hello everyone, Jack Keithley here, and I'm going to be talking to you about the very car you see on the screen right now, the Group C Nissan. And I think this is from the late 80s, mid to late 80s. But, yeah, on RaceRoom, on the Daytona Road Course, this is part of a leaderboard which goes towards an event, which goes towards a championship where there's a final, like I think the top 24, there'll be a final taking place at Sim Expo in December. But we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about this very car and what it's like to drive. Now, I'm sure a lot of you that have driven this car, whether it be on the current leaderboard for this competition or you've driven it before, you know what it's like. But I very recently got to the top of this leaderboard, and it took me a lot of trial and error. Now, I last raced this car 2 years ago in a I think it was a Porsche community event. And the car felt, in a way, probably a little bit easier to drive than this very one does. I don't know if that's because of all the updates with RaceRoom and the physics and the force feedback and all that good stuff. But this car is a lot of fun to drive, but at the same time so frustrating. It took me about an hour and 40 minutes to get to the very top of this leaderboard, beating Alessandro Ottaviani, who is always going to be a challenge to beat. And on a track which isn't the most technical, it made this car look very clumsy at the best of times. Well, I made the car look clumsy, but it took a lot of work. First of all, the brakes, they're not very good. You need to have a lot of rear brake. Put the brake bars to around 49-51, and you immediately eliminate the locking up, and then you'll start to feel the turning. And you can see there how the brakes glowing red and a spin. Now you're going to be seeing 2, 3, 4 minutes worth of footage, and this is all of the behind the scenes stuff. So all the makings that go into a top lap, which takes you to the top of the leaderboard or near the top, whatever, takes a lot of work. But anyway, so the brakes are notoriously difficult to work around unless you have the bias set correctly. Secondly is the power delivery. Now I'm going to give you people a few seconds, okay, to fill in this blank. The power comes in one great big, you're wrong, lump. That's what it's like. In the slow corners, the car feels so slow and sluggish, and it understeers a lot. You got to put a lot of wheel in. I don't know if it's because of the lack of power steering or what, but you got to put a lot of wheel into the car in slow corners when you're in first or second gear, and the car's not designed to go through those type of corners like that very one there and the back straight chicane. It's meant to go through those corners and it feels great through there, but in the slow corners it's a dog. From the point of turning in to once the power delivery kicks in and you're off and going, I bet you this car is no quicker than a Renault Clio when you're going 30-40 miles an hour in those first second gear corners. It's slow, and you're waiting a long time to get on the power, and then once you're on the power, you're then either on the power too late or you're on it too early or anything in between, and it takes a lot of work to find that sweet spot, because you'll get on the power, you'll feel nothing, then suddenly, all the way up to 8,000 RPM, the rear wheels are spinning, the turbo's fully kicked in, and then you're like, damn it. Because it's supposed to go much smoother than that. And turn 1 and 2 was the hardest by far for me to get right. And once I got them nailed, the rest of that wasn't too difficult. But I'd say turn 1 by far was the hardest, because you're braking, turning, trying to keep the speed built up as well. That's the thing. You don't want the revs to drop too low, otherwise you will just lose all the power. So you got to try and keep up the momentum whilst having good grip and good temperature in the front tyres. So that's why you got to have a mix of the rear brake bias along with just being as easy as you can on turn-in, keeping the speed built up, and then you're off to the races. Then you're all good. But once you've got everything hooked up, this car is great fun to drive. It really is. It just takes a lot of trial and error. So I think that's it. I think that's everything. I could do a lot more, but this is more like a mini review before the hot lap itself. So Everyone, thank you very much for listening, and hope you all enjoy the lap. Peace.